This video will show you how to rebill a load in Transport Pro. For example, let's say you've billed a load, but then 2 weeks later there was a change to the rate and you need to make an update or add an accessorial charge. Transport Pro allows you to regenerate an invoice for your customer and then send that updated invoice directly to the customer or to your factoring company. You can do this with just a few clicks. This video will walk you through the rebill process step by step. To rebill a load, the first thing you need to do is get yourself to the load summary screen for the load you need to rebill. You can pull up the load one of two ways. You can either use the quick launch icon at the top. If you know the Transport Pro load ID, then you can simply type in the load ID and then hit enter on your keyboard, and that will redirect you to the load summary screen. Or you can do a search loads function by going to Load Management, Search Loads. Use any of the desired filters and find the load that way. Once you're on the load summary screen, the next thing you'll need to do is click the Unlock Load for Rebill link in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. The system will ask you if you're sure you want to unlock it. Say OK. When you click this link, the lock icon will turn from yellow to green. Green tells you that the load is unlocked and that you can now make any desired edits. So now let's hit Edit Load Information, and we can make an edit to the load. Note, you must unlock a load for rebill in order to make any changes to the load. You can't edit a locked load. So, although you typically will be using this unlock load for rebill function to do a true rebill, you may find yourself in a scenario where a mistake was made on the dispatch record, or an address was entered incorrectly and you need to update that. You'll still have to unlock the load for rebill to make any changes to a locked or billed load. So for this example, I am going to edit the load and add a detention charge to it. You'll make any edits you need to make here. Once you've made any necessary changes, you will then check the Rebill Load checkbox at the bottom. When you check this box, you'll notice that the system will automatically check the Send New Bill box directly below the Rebill Load box. This is because the system assumes that since you made a change to the rate, an updated invoice needs to be generated and sent. Now, if you just made, as we would call it, an internal edit, again, maybe you just needed to make an update to the dispatcher, you just needed to update an address, and you don't necessarily need to send a new bill to the customer, then you'll just want to make sure that the Send New Bill checkbox is not checked. So once you've made your edits, you've checked Rebill Load and Send New Bill is checked, you'll now click Save Record. Once you click Save Record, you'll land back out on the load summary page. You'll now notice that the load is locked again and that the system has generated an updated invoice, and that invoice has been placed in the file history section of the load. The load then gets dropped into the freight bill processing queue, so you can regenerate the billing packet and send it with the updated freight bill. So now we'll go to Billing, Load Queues, Freight Bill Processing Queue. Any load that has been marked for rebill, check the box out to the right of the rebilled load, and then click the Send a Customer button. If you bill the customer directly, then you've just sent the updated packet out and have successfully rebilled your customer. If you are set up with a factoring company and the updated billing packet needs to go to factoring, Then what'll happen here is that the system will generate that billing packet with the updated freight bill and send it back to the factoring transfer queue so you can send it off to your factoring company again, just like you did when you initially billed the load. Essentially, you're going through that same process. Now, with rebilling, there is one last step to completing the rebill process, and that is to approve the load in the pay adjustments queue. So now, let's go to Settlements, Pay Adjustments queue. You'll see the list of loads here that have been rebilled. And then to review the adjustments, click the Adjust icon out to the right. On the next screen, you'll see a breakdown of the historical settlement entries as well as the expected rebill entries or expected settlement entries. Review the adjustments for accuracy and then click Save to approve it and push it over to settlements. Now, you will also see an option here to waive the adjustment. You would only check that box if you did not want to accept the suggested adjustment amount and push it through. So recall, when you bill a load in Transport Pro, the system sets up the pending settlement entries. So then whenever you rebill a load, the system will make any necessary adjustments to those settlements. And that's why rebilled loads get sent to this pay adjustments queue. So if you made a change to the bill, it's likely that there's also a change on the settlement side. So the system sends them to this pay adjustments queue so somebody can review and approve those adjustments and push them over. Someone must come into this queue and review and approve these adjustments to clear it out of here. So this is always the last step of the rebill process. This is what completes your rebill process. So even if there wasn't a change to the rate or there are no settlement adjustments to be made, it might say 0 here. The load still gets dropped into this queue and you still have to approve and clear it out of here. So like I said, this completes your process. And then you can always go back into the load and rebill it again if you need to. And that covers rebilling a load in Transport Pro. If you have any questions or need assistance with rebilling, please contact our technical support team by emailing support@transportpro.net. Thanks for watching this video.